Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We would like to begin this evening with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the lands on which Memorial University's campuses are situated in the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the histories and cultures of the Beothuk, the Mi'kmaq, the Innu, and Inuit of this province. We encourage everyone to reflect on these lands from where you are located and the Indigenous peoples for whom these lands are traditional territory. Welcome to the 41st Annual Alumni Tribute Awards. My name is Nathan Young, and I'm thrilled to be your co-MC this evening, along with Shushmita Dev Berman. Shushmita is a graduate student completing her master's in economics. She's currently an executive of the Graduate Students' Union and works hard to serve her fellow graduate students as an elected leader. She also works with the MUN Student Experience Office in planning and organizing welcome events for new students. In her spare time, Shushmita enjoys singing, volunteering, and taking long walks. And maybe she'll even sing a little bit for us later tonight.
I think I'll leave the singing to our performers, Nathan. I am so pleased to be your co-MC tonight here in this amazing space with you, Nathan. Nathan is a third-year undergrad student at Memorial, completing a joint Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Arts in Economics. He is an avid curler, having represented this province at this year's Brier. He also played for Team Canada at the 2020 Youth Olympic Games in Switzerland, where he captured gold in the mixed doubles.
Thank you, Shushmita. The support from Memorial's alumni community helps Memorial support its students in ways that are truly impactful. As Shushmita just mentioned, I'm a competitive curler, and this requires an intense training, competing, and traveling schedule. Balancing almost full-time curling with certainly full-time academics is a challenge and simply would not be possible without the amazing support and encouragement from Memorial and our entire alumni community. So personally, I thank you all. This evening we recognize alumni with outstanding accomplishments, encourage alumni and friends to engage with Memorial, to build pride, and to be inspired by our alumni who have had a great impact on our community, province, and world. I've had so much support from Memorial in my time as a student, and I very much look forward to joining the alumni community once I graduate myself.
I feel the same way, Nathan. I am so honored to be involved in this special evening. The feeling of pride in the room right now is inspiring and so exciting. We have some special guests joining us tonight. We would like to welcome Memorial University's President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vian Timmons, our newly named Chancellor, Earl Ludlow, Acting Chair of the Board of Regents, Kathy Duke, the Honorable John Hagee, Minister of the Provincial Government's Department of Education, as well as a number of other members of senior administration from Memorial, members of the Alumni Tribute Awards Nomination Selection Committee, nominators, a number of our sponsors and partners, as well as other friends and supporters of Memorial University.
And of course, the stars of the show, our 2022 Alumni Tribute Award recipients. First, Dr. Zainab Jarrett, recipient of the Outstanding Community Service Award, which recognizes volunteer contributions to the community. Next, Zarin Healy-White, recipient of the Horizon Award, which recognizes an outstanding alumni 35 years of age or younger. Next, Margie Allen, recipient of the J.D. Eaton Award, which recognizes outstanding volunteer contribution to Memorial. And last but not least, Dr. Lisa Barrett, our Alumna of the Year, the highest distinction bestowed on a Memorial graduate by the alumni body.
A few housekeeping items before we really get going. For the third year in a row, we have modified our Alumni Tribute Awards ceremony to a smaller audience than pre-COVID. But of course, we also know that there are many others who want to join in on the celebration. So this event is also being live streamed. We are now live on the Memorial University Alumni YouTube channel. Hello to our viewers out there. For those of you who are here in the room, if you are looking for a washroom, they are located down the corridor to the right of the main entrance when you entered, and to the left of where you are sitting right now. In the unlikely event of an emergency, we ask that you calmly head to one of the exterior exits, all of which are clearly marked. Once you exit the building, the master station is along the side of the parking garage across the street from this building. If there is anything you need, you can flag down one of our helpful staff around the perimeter of the room.
This evening wouldn't be possible without the hard work and support of the Alumni Tribute Awards Nomination Selection Committee. I would now like to call on Bob Dowden, Chair of the Committee and Director of Strategic Business Development at Johnson Inc., to say a few words. As Bob makes his way to the stage, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge his retirement from Johnson at the end of November after many decades of service, which is really great for Memorial because now he'll have more time to volunteer with us. On a more serious note, on behalf of everyone here this evening, we wish you nothing but the best with your retirement, and we thank you for everything you've done for Memorial.
I'm blaming the president for that one. Excuse me for 1 second. My phone's getting caught up in my notes, and that's not what we need to speak about this evening. Thank you, Nathan and Sumini, sorry, my apologies. It's so wonderful to have the students present here this year because, of course, it's with the students who are the heart of everything that we do at Memorial, and this is a welcome treat, so thank you very much for hosting. Good evening, everyone, and especially the 2022 Alumni Tribute Awards recipients. I'm proud to be here again with you this year to celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of our alumni. As Nathan mentioned, this is the 41st year for Memorial recognizing graduates who achieved distinction in their chosen fields, who are committed to our alma mater, and who have outstanding contributions to the community. Congratulations to you all. It's always a pleasure on behalf of the review committee to review submissions and packages for those who have been nominated over the years. And these nominations never cease to amaze me. I would like to thank and recognize the efforts of a volunteer committee, and I would think it's important to recognize the fact that it is made up of regional representation, local representation, provincial representation, national and international this year. So we continue to expand. Thank you to Melissa Williams, Susan Rose, Atif Basteri, Paul Preston, Michelle Blakey, and Mike Pottle. When you are a university like Memorial, you achieve a great number of nominations showcasing the alumni that we have throughout the world of making change. It takes a lot of hours to go through the nomination packages and that to basically give the recognition that these people deserve in selections. So I'd like to thank the nomination committee for the outstanding time they've taken for completing this on a totally voluntary basis. But then I also like to thank those who nominate and put forth nomination packages for the recipients that we receive on an annual basis. I would like to encourage everybody in this audience here tonight and then everybody online to please continue making your nominations. Johnson's has been a proud supporter of the university for many, many years, and supporting events like this and many other initiatives for years. As a proud alumni and a proud Newfoundlander and Labradorian, I'm thrilled that our company continues to maintain this relationship and their strong university presence. I would also like to thank our partners this evening, Newfoundland Power, Memorial University Center of Innovation, Teaching and Learning, and Manulife. On behalf of myself, the nomination committee, all of my colleagues at Johnson, congratulations to this year's recipients. You truly make Memorial University proud and Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bob. It is my honor to introduce now Dr. Vianne Timmons, our President and Vice Chancellor here at Memorial. Raised in Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Timmons became the first woman president and vice chancellor of Memorial in April of 2020, having served as president of the University of Regina since 2008. She has extensive teaching experiences across Canada with wide-ranging research interests and a particular emphasis on family literacy and inclusive education. She has received numerous awards, including Officer of the Order of Canada in 2017 and the 2019 YWCA Women of Distinction Lifetime Achievement Award. She was also named one of the Canada's top 100 most powerful women on 4 occasions. Welcome, Dr. Timmons.
Thank you. So aren't they doing a great job emceeing? Give them a big round. And Bob, it's great to see you here. Bob and I also were sitting together at my first big alumni event in Calgary a couple of weeks ago, where we had almost 200 people attend, and Johnson's Insurance supported that. So Bob, you got to keep helping us out, right? It is so wonderful to have you both so involved in the ceremony today. Now, you probably can tell I have a little bit of a cold, but I want to reassure you I've tested for COVID 3 times. My granddaughter, who I was visiting with on the weekend, was coughing in my face. 3-year-old who goes to daycare, so I think I caught a cold from her. And if some of you know, I did a town hall in which I actually had to step away from speaking because I started coughing. So we do have a plan if that happens. Lisa, our Vice President, External Relations and Advancement, will come up and take my notes if I end up coughing and not being able to continue. I'm going to hope, so all of you, cross your fingers for me that I can get through this. Welcome to all in Memorial's 41st Annual Alumni Tribute Awards. First one held here, look above us, in this amazing core science facility. At my installation, we had the reception here, and my little granddaughter kept pointing up, she was 18 months, at that whale in awe. So I look at it all the time in total awe. For those watching online, thank you so much also for joining us. Thank you, Minister Haggie. You also joined us your first day on the job to our board meeting, and so we really appreciate your support. And it's fitting that this is Earl Ludlow's first official event as Chancellor. He received an Alumni Tribute Award in 2008 for his outstanding community service. I think our past Chancellor, is she here, Susan Dyer Knight? There she is back there. She officially stepped down from her role as Chancellor in July, but I see her in the back there, still supporting our university and our alumni, and both our acting chair and past chair who are here. Hello, Kathy, and Iris Petton, who hired me, who I'm forever grateful to. A warm welcome to all of this year's honorees. Zarin, an extra congratulations to you. You brought a VIP guest today, Rowan White Doyle, her newborn baby. Did I hear 10 days old? 17 days old, who came into this world just over 2 weeks ago, and he's joining us as his first alumni event. I have to tell you, Zarin, I remember those days very, very well. Also, Margie, congratulations. We're so proud of all that you've done. Zainab, we also are so proud of you. And Lisa, I was watching you on the news a lot during COVID from Halifax, where you were on, always giving amazing advice and opinion. You know, I don't know if you've noticed, something people may say is unusual, but it shouldn't be. All our recipients this year are women. I think that deserves a hand. I am always excited to celebrate women who have accomplished significant things. I bet when the four of you stepped into your university class at Memorial, you would have never imagined today. And I think it's important that we recognize and acknowledge these women leaders. I'll tell you a little story that's not in my notes. I remember when my daughter Taylor was around 4 years old, and she was watching the news with her father. And then came up and we were having dinner together. And you know those great supper time conversations that you have with your kids. So we were talking about what everyone was going to be when they grow up. We have 4 kids. And so we went around and Taylor says, when I grow up, I want to be a man. So we had to handle that very carefully. So my husband said to her, Taylor, why do you want to be a man? And she said, because all the important people in the world are men, the policemen, the firemen, the businessmen. She said, no important people in the world are women. I hope that my granddaughter, who gave me this cold, never says that. I hope she knows that there are very many important people in the world that are women. So it's reason that I'm thrilled to have these 4 women recipients is because I know the path is tough. Memorial and our alumni, we can and do solve many of the world problems. And these are 4 problem solvers here with us tonight. We're proud to have set you on a path to the great work you've done today and that you're being celebrated for tonight. You know, at Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador, we have goals. Our goals is to grow students into successful alumni, to highlight that education and experiences are foundations to build better communities, to make sure that our graduates contribute to the economy and solve problems at home and globally. The culture of service is part of our strategic plan, Transforming Our Horizons, where we strive to build a culture where we listen and respond to those we serve. Success requires honest and continuous dialogue, and we need to focus on how we can be of service to our students and develop long-lasting relationships as they graduate and become our alumni. We also, in our strat plan, have a commitment to communities and a special obligation to the people and place of Newfoundland and Labrador. Opening our doors to the greater community and showing them what we can do is so important. Our new chancellor said recently in media, Memorial is a cornerstone for this province's past and future successes. And it all starts when a student applies to our university. I'm going to go away for a minute and come back. I'm back. So we support our students' journey in many ways, enhancing the student experience through even infrastructure like this core science facility, our flagship building and national treasure. This building changes the way science and technology is taught at Memorial. But more, events and outreach such as Whale of a Day inspire our next generation, and thousands of young people showed up on that day, here, right in here, to participate. One part of Big Splash, a year of province-wide celebrations to showcase everything under the sea we do at Memorial. So at Memorial, we have $176 million in research, and 40% of that focuses on oceans. Our university is a university for the province and for the future. And all of us in this room tonight and watching online, you play a part. We are all Team Memorial. We have a common goal of a brighter future for our graduates and for our amazing province. Our 100th anniversary, think about that, 100 years, is coming up in 2025. Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador started with 55 students in 1925, and now we're over 19,000 today, and more than 100,000 Memorial alumni globally. There's going to be lots of things happening in 2025. Stay tuned and be part of our celebrations. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here this evening to celebrate these amazing alumni. Please stay in touch. We have new programs and events developed to engage you. For example, Coastlines Memorials Book Club is hugely popular. The current selection is This Is How We Love by Lisa Moore. Sign up for this hybrid event on October 27th and get ready to be entertained. I really enjoyed when Alan Doyle was celebrated in the book club last October. Once again, a heartfelt congratulations to you, our alumni. I have the pleasure to introduce the Honorable Dr. John Hagee to bring greetings on behalf of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. Dr. Hagee, our new Minister of Education, I mentioned on the first day of his job, he came to our Board of Regents and stayed over an hour. He's committed to this province and committed to higher education, and we are proud to call him our minister. Thank you for all your support, Minister, and welcome.
Thank you very much, President Timmins. It's really great to be here. This is, as she said, my first public event as Minister of Education, and its memorial I've come to on the new Core Sciences building. My department, in the best tradition of all politicians, have prepared some short notes, which I'll only take about 3 hours to deliver. To pick up on Dr. Timmins' theme, we appreciate, as a government, as a minister, Memorial's commitment to the province, its link with the province. And yet we can see, and particularly at events like this, the contribution that MUN graduates make to the social, economic fabric of the province and its well-being. They have and continue to contribute daily. Tonight's a time for celebration, and I did say to somebody earlier on that one of the things I've noticed from my vantage point over the last 6 years is, as a province, we're not terribly good at celebrating the things we do really well. In actual fact, so well, I would argue we lead Canada in some of them. And I think it's really important that we do that, because by doing that, we encourage the new students, the potential students, to see the advantages of coming to Memorial from all sorts of directions. This university has some of the best programs you will find anywhere in Canada, and I would argue in the post-secondary arena that they stand on a par with a lot of international courses as well. We need to be proud of that. We need to celebrate it, and I think events like this are a good way of doing that. And yes, it's a modified version, but it's small enough for the participants here to be feeling very well connected to the process, the evening, and yet also for the alumni who can't make it in person to do it this way. The recipients that we are congratulating, are celebrating tonight, have demonstrated and highlighted the commitment of Memorial grads and the university to the province itself. Congratulations to Dr. Lisa Barrett, Alumna of the Year, Dr. Zainab Jarrett as the Outstanding Community Services Award, Margaret Allen as the recipient of the J.D. Eaton Award, and Zarin Healy-White, who I haven't seen for some time in actual fact, who is the recipient of this year's Horizon Award. And it is interesting and noteworthy that, as President Timmins said, all of this year's recipients are women. I commend everybody, as the minister responsible ultimately for education in this province, for the leadership that Memorial and its grads show, both in this faculty, in this facility, and in their fields as they leave their university to go and do the things that we kind of hear about tonight. So I'm looking forward to doing this again and hearing yet more. And with that, thank you for your time, and thank you for the warm welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Timmons and Minister Haggie, for your remarks. It is now my pleasure to introduce our public orator and Memorial's very own J-Lo, Dr. Jennifer Lokash. Jennifer, sure. Jennifer Lokash is Memorial University's public orator and an associate professor in the Department of English. In May 2022, she completed her 8-year term as head of the department and seriously considered, as she tells us, running off into the woods, never to be seen again. But she couldn't resist the opportunity to join the Provost's office as interim associate vice president academic, where she will spend the next year working with and learning from Memorial's senior leadership team. Okay.
Honorable Minister Dr. John Haggie, thank you for being here. Chancellor Ludlow, welcome. President Vianne Timmons and Stuart Mason, Acting Chair of the Board of Regents, Kathy Duke, Vice Presidents, Deans and Directors, honored guests, lovely people, brand new babies, good evening. On September 6th of this year, the Gazette published an article applauding a quartet of women scholars from across Memorial who are being inducted into the Royal Society of Canada. This was heralded, and rightly so, as a Memorial milestone, in part because it is the most inductees from Memorial in 1 year, but even more because all 4 inductees are women. A month earlier, on August 8th, an article with a similar triumphant tone appeared. Female First 2022 Alumni Tribute Award recipients make history, the headline reads, because, as we have heard, in 41 years of bestowing alumni awards at this university, we have never had a fully female roster of winners until tonight. These are absolutely history-making, recognition-deserving, celebration-demanding events, and it is genuinely thrilling for me to speak for these 4 incredible women here tonight. While this is indeed progress of a sort when it comes to gender equity, there is a part of me that wishes this were not big news. And I think we must acknowledge the terrible irony, if I may be serious for a moment, that our Female First celebrations are happening in the wake of the death of Mahsa Amini, while in the custody of the Iranian morality police, and just months after the Supreme Court of the United States stripped American women of the fundamental right to bodily autonomy they had enjoyed for 5 decades. So, as we celebrate how far we've come far here at Memorial, here in Canada. Let us remember the degree to which our sisters to the south and elsewhere in the world are confronting patriarchy, systemic misogyny, discrimination, and gender-based violence still, again, always. As we cheer our progress, let us also use our privilege to express outrage for these and other injustices and for the erosion of human rights wherever we see it. We must also recognize the hard work that remains for us all here at Memorial and out in the world to shift equity, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism from being strategic priorities to principles fully integrated into our social, economic, and institutional structures and ways of being. What tonight's Alumni Award recipients have in common, besides all being women and besides all reaching excellence in their chosen fields, is that they are each powerfully advancing these ideals in various ways through their lives and their work, determined to examine, alter, or dismantle systems and social structures that lead to inequity and harm. in their commitment to healthy and diverse communities, to connectivity and empathy, and to meeting the need where they see it, these remarkable women are lighting a path forward for us all. I simply cannot imagine a more deserving recipient of the Tribute Award for Outstanding Community Service than Dr. Zainab Jarrett. Having completed a BA and MA in her home country of Nigeria, Zainab Haruna arrived in St. John's in 1992 on a Commonwealth scholarship to join the folklore department and work towards a PhD on the folk songs of the women of Nigeria's Bura tribe, her tribe. She completed her PhD in 1998 and a diploma in information technology, also from Memorial, in 2000. Zainab was raised in what she describes as a royal household, her father a tribal chief who was responsible for many towns, villages, and the souls who lived in them. She attributes her passion for the nonprofit sector in part to this element of her background, as she witnessed her father's dedication to serving his community and the joy he took in that service. To say that St. John's was lacking in diversity and unequipped for international newcomers when Zainab arrived is perhaps an understatement. But over the 3 decades since she has married John Jarrett and settled here, she has not only witnessed, but has significantly shaped the transformation of our city and province into a place that is a more welcoming home to international students, immigrants and refugees, and many global cultures. The focus of Zainab's volunteer work, broadly speaking, has been to instill and amplify cross-cultural understanding and caring, to provide personalized support to newcomers, and to offer folks on the margins of society the means to develop connections and forge community. Often her assistance is spontaneous and ad hoc in the form of gathering and distributing household necessities, winter clothes, and various familiar cultural items when she is made aware of a need. If she is called on by individuals, government officials, the Association for New Canadians, or schools across the province, she doesn't hesitate to consult and advise, provide comfort, and gently educate to heighten cultural awareness. When asked to speak at the Black Lives Matter demonstration, she obliged. During Snowmageddon, and more recently during the pandemic, she delivered groceries and meals to newcomer families and others, and she did so with her own resources. She has worked closely with St. Augustine's Anglican Church on various initiatives, including hugely popular international suppers and concerts where food is shared and cultures merge. In fact, food has been one of Zainab's primary tools for achieving her goals. Many will know her from her multi-ethnic food kitchen that was a mainstay at the farmers market until 2019. Through her small mobile catering business, she became associated with the Tombolo Multicultural Festival of Newfoundland and Labrador, a nonprofit organization that promotes diversity, anti-racism, and inclusion through food, music, arts, and celebration. Seeing its potential for growth, Zainab took control of Tombolo and is now its executive director, and she has significantly expanded their programming and events across the province. Zainab's efforts extend well beyond the province too. When in April of 2014, the militant jihadist group Boko Haram began attacking villages and abducting schoolgirls in the Chibok region of Nigeria, where Dr. Jarrett grew up, she desperately wanted to help. Her own sister's family had fled their home in the night. So she organized a fundraiser to provide scholarships for up to 12 girls who had escaped their captors. This was the inception of the We Care Foundation, for which Dr. Jarrett is the executive director, and which has now provided hundreds of scholarships to Djiboutian youth and has sent large shipments of donated supplies, including several cars and a school bus, to the region. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Dr. Zainab Jarrett, an absolute legend to the multicultural communities and to the many Nigerians who are benefiting from her humanitarianism. I now invite Dr. Jarrett to the front, along with Dr. William Bavington, her nominator, to present her with the Alumni Award for Outstanding Community Service.
Thank you. Thank you. Please sit down. Thank you all. I want to thank Memorial University of Newfoundland and one alumni for this award. I don't feel that the work I do deserve an award, but I will gratefully accept it. I want to thank Dr. Bill Bavington for nominating me for this award behind my back. Thank you, and thanks to Grace Bavington for your support over the years. I'm very grateful to you. Thanks to my dear husband, John Jarrett, and my son, Samuel Jarrett, for supporting me and for helping me in all the work that I do, for driving me to deliver meals and food hampers to vulnerable immigrants in the St. John's area, for helping me to package books, food and clothing, toys for children to ship to Nigeria to vulnerable victims of Boko Haram. Thank you also for helping me by traveling with me to northeastern Nigeria to award scholarships to victims of Boko Haram. Thank you so much. I am very grateful to Reverend David Pilling for his support and for encouraging me to create the We Care Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you very much. I salute and congratulate my co-awards recipients for your achievements and your wonderful services. Thank you, and thank you all.
In the fall of 2007, the recipient of this year's Horizon Award appeared in my very exciting course on 18th century poetry. We go around the room and introduce ourselves. Zarin, like Karen, but with a K, she says. Big smile, bright eyes, crackling with energy. She sat in the front, rarely missed a class, was uncommonly and sometimes terrifyingly well-prepared and enthusiastic about the texts under analysis, and I remember thinking to myself, I will never see anyone more eager to learn. She was also wearing an elaborate costume or dressed to a theme far more frequently than one might imagine. And it wasn't long before I learned just how many things Zarin was involved in and exuberant about, and what a gloriously unique and admirable individual she is. Academically, Zarin's a superstar. When she convocated with her BA in English in 2010, she won the Chancellor's Undergraduate Award, the Fry Family Leadership Award, and the George Story Convocation Prize, all in recognition of academic excellence and leadership at and beyond Memorial. After earning a Shirk-funded MA in English from McGill in 2012, she returned to us to complete a Master of Gender Studies in 2016, during which she received the F.R. Aldrich Fellowship and was designated a Fellow of the School of Graduate Studies. This success is even more astonishing considering that as an undergraduate, she held a full-time job as coordinator of the Student Volunteer Bureau, wrote for the Muse, and entertained our varsity crowds as Sammy the Seahawk. And while a master's student, she worked as a broadcaster and web editor at VOCM News and as an advisor in our internationalization office. Since then, Zarin has held a number of communications positions, including Manager of Marketing at Celtex Inc., Director of Communications for the province's NDP caucus, and currently Manager of Marketing with M5 Communications. Highly respected in her field, she is sought after as a guest speaker and panelist to share her expertise in gender, politics, and media for organizations ranging from Choices for Youth to the Canadian Federation of Students to various MUN departments to FemFest NL and many more. Zarin is possessed of a deep and active well of compassion and empathy for all of humanity and all of nature, and a strong will to make social change, to create culture, and to hold herself accountable. Volunteerism, community service, and advocacy are thus foundational to Zarin's entire existence, and her record of such activities is impressively extensive. A fearless and outspoken feminist, as well as an extreme craft enthusiast and installation artist in her own right, Zarin's most significant community project was Feminisms Reframed, a bold and inclusive feminist art show that ran from 2015 to 2018. She is also a tireless animal welfare activist, volunteering at Beagle Paws for a decade, and since 2014 for Hoppy Homes Rescue, which is dedicated to saving the lives of rabbits, guinea pigs, rats, and other small animals that are often overlooked and undervalued. Zarin and her husband Dean have lovingly rehabilitated and provided foster care to over 70 of these wee creatures, adopting many. Speaking of wee creatures, I cannot overstate the good fortune of this baby, Ronan, who was born 17 days ago. It's no hyperbole to say that their little family gives me hope for the future. Zarin clearly has a formidable work ethic, but she is also guided by her belief that education is a privilege and driven by her sense of what it means to really pursue the things that interest you. Zarin goes all in. She relishes the quest for new skills, new understandings, new dance moves. If you are fortunate enough to be in her orbit for any amount of time, you will feel this joy, her zest, her sweeping intellect. You'll witness an intentional and creative life in the making, and you will be inspired. In recognition of exceptional achievement in Alumni 35 and under, it's my singular pleasure to invite up the brilliant and tenacious Zarin Healy-White, a poetic and noble land mermaid, if ever there was one, so that I can present her with the 2022 Horizon Award.
We didn't plan the outfits.
No, we didn't.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Good evening, everyone, fellow award recipients, distinguished guests. My name is Zarin Healy-White, and I'm so delighted and honored to be here tonight to accept the Horizon Award for Young Alumni and to celebrate the Alumni Tribute Awards and Memorial University and all the different contributions that Memorial makes in the community. I'm so happy to be here tonight for many reasons, not least of all because it's my first time out of the house in a while, as I had a baby 2.5 weeks ago. Yeah. This is the second most exciting thing of the month. My newborn baby, Ronan White Doyle, is here in the audience with my husband, his dad, Dean. Now, Ronan was actually due to be born on September 27th, but that was pretty close to this event. He showed up 9 days early because he knew his mom really wanted to get to be here tonight. So well done, buddy, good job. Not surprisingly, I'm thinking a lot these days about family and what makes something home. And when I first came to Memorial in 2005, not right away, but within a year or so, I felt that I was coming home. And MUN was my home for many years because I found colleagues, collaborators, co-conspirators, and importantly, I found family at Memorial. I formed bonds with many people, peers and teachers, over academics and research, over leadership activities and services for students, over student journalism, politics, and activism. My home was in the Student Volunteer Bureau, at career development, at Memorial Student Leadership Weekends, working orientation, being on the radio at CHMR, and editing the Muse newspaper until the wee hours overnights on Tuesdays. And my home was in the English and Gender Studies departments, taking classes with incredible profs and instructors who understood, for both my undergrad and graduate degrees, I was always going to work full-time while studying and start building my career while studying, and they supported me in this, even if it delayed the completion of my thesis. But you have to get real life experience while you're studying, and they always understood that I was always going to be in those two worlds, and that was just the way I was going to do it, and I'm so grateful for that support. My academic mentors helped me thrive at MUN. They supported me in applying for grad programs, writing recommendations, helping me navigate funding. After a year at McGill, I came back to MUN and actually working a year in broadcast news at VOCM, I came back to MUN for gender studies. And it was during this time at Memorial that everything that has shaped my career so far really started to coalesce. Academic research, feminism, activism, media literacy, working in the media, online culture, technology, communications, and public scholarship. And for me, it's not about one distinct role or job. It's in amongst all that, between working and volunteering and creative endeavors, that I found my passion and purpose. And I found it through the road that I was able to walk through being here at MUN. And everyone who knows me knows I love MUN. I mean, literally, I've been the mascot, as has been discussed. Really, one of my best and strangest jobs on campus was working for varsity athletics from 2006 to 2008 as one of the Sammy the Seahawk mascots. I was one of two in rotation. My co-Sammy was about 6'4", and thus I was known by Seahawks fans and families as the short Sammy. And I'm proud to have been the short Sammy the Seahawk. Thank you so much to my nominators and letter writers, Dr. Jennifer Lokash, Dr. Sonia Boone, Mona Rossiter, and Lacey O'Connell, and everyone else who has ever supported, encouraged, and helped me on and off this campus. I'm grateful that you believe in me. Thank you to the selection committee and everyone at the alumni office who worked so hard to put off this amazing event here tonight. Congratulations to the very deserving award recipients for all your amazing contributions. I'm so honored to be in your company. My love of Memorial, what Memorial has done for me, and what I've tried to give back in turn, is why being recognized with the Horizon Award means so much to me. I met my husband here on campus, and I'm excited for my son to hopefully be among the future MUN alumni class someday. Thank you so much.
The The J.D. Eaton Award recognizes superior leadership and outstanding volunteer contributions to Memorial. Through her sustained and diverse commitments across our university, this year's preeminent Memorial Ambassador, Margaret E. Allen, has demonstrated the true power and potential of alumni involvement. Margie was well served by her memorial education, which includes an honors BA in history in 1982, and then, while raising her young family, an MBA, class of 1995. With this potent combination of a liberal arts degree and a graduate degree in business, she built a wide-ranging career with experience in natural resources, financial affairs, and the public sector. She spent 17 years in senior management and executive positions in economic development for the provincial government, serving for 3 years as Assistant Deputy Minister for the Department of Tourism, Culture, and Recreation. She then joined Husky Energy, now Cenovus, to work on the White Rose oil field development project as a manager of regulatory affairs and administration, a role she held until her retirement in 2018. Whatever the context, Margie is known for her high degree of professionalism and preparedness, her always sound advice, her authenticity, and her good humor, which produces, at times, what was described to me as a contagious laugh. Everyone who has ever had to work with anyone else, and that's everyone in this room, knows that invaluable qualities like these in our coworkers and leaders lead to success, but also to positive work environments. Margie has brought this positivity and a wealth of knowledge in HR, infrastructure, and strategic planning to her many volunteer roles at Memorial, beginning with as a canvasser during the 2011-12 Dare 2 fundraising campaign. A trusted liaison between industry and academia, for a decade, Margie served on the Marine Institute's Industry Advisory Committee. During those discussions, she regularly championed the equity, diversity, and inclusion perspective, and her strong voice had a considerable direct impact on MI's EDI initiatives, especially in the areas of student recruitment and retention. Keenly aware of the need for diverse learning experiences within oil and gas, she worked with Husky and MI to establish the Husky Energy Future Leaders Award for MI's nautical science students, designed to foster leaders driven to make change in Newfoundland and Labrador's offshore industries. And motivated by her own experience of juggling education, career, and family as a woman, she is building an endowed award, the Kathleen Fitzgerald Earle Memorial Award, named for her mother and designed to support mature female students who have, like Margie and her mother both, returned to school after having a family. She has also served on the Board of Regents and several of its committees, and for 11 years sat on the Genesis Center Board, where she contributed to the center's growth, to the culture of innovation, and to progressive programming that encourages women in technology and supports immigrant entrepreneurs. A lifelong arts enthusiast and music lover, Margie currently sits on the Advisory Council for the School of Music. Since her retirement, which does not look very retiring to me, she volunteers in community organizations that have vital ties to Memorial, including Business and Arts NL, the Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra, and the Rooms Corporation, for which she is chair. Please join me in profoundly thanking Margaret Allen for her generous, unwavering, and impactful support of Memorial University. I welcome Margie to the front now, along with MI's Rebecca Hefferton, to present her with the 2022 J.D. Eaton Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you very much for this award I'm receiving today. I am truly honored to be in the same company today as the other award recipients, Lisa, Zainab, and Zarin. I'm also very honored and proud to join the long list of people who have previously received the J.D. Eaton Award. And unlike some of you here, I'm actually long enough in the tooth to remember Dr. Eaton, who was indeed a lovely man. On the day I learned I was to receive this award, I'd been visiting an exhibition at the Rooms, and it was called At Home, Too Far, Too Close. The exhibition tells 14 stories about 14 people who've immigrated to Newfoundland and Labrador from around the world and chose this place to be their home. Remarkably, although the exhibit has nothing to do with Memorial, 7 of these individuals tell how Memorial played a big part in their choice of where to live. So it strikes me that this is just one example of Memorial's leadership in growing our community and our economy. The role Memorial plays in our province's future, and indeed in Canada's future, is why I'm compelled to support it. It's educated generations of people, including in my own family, and has shaped our society. Memorial's success is the province's success, and their futures are inextricably linked in such fields as medical sciences, natural resources, digital technologies, environmental leadership, and many more. I'd like to thank those who nominated me and supported me in this award. I'd also like to thank my former employer, Husky Energy, and now Synovus, which recognized the long-term value of supporting Memorial, and they supported it in many ways. And they set a wonderful corporate example by encouraging me to sit on Memorial's board and committees. The benefits that come from corporate and private contributions have lasting impact. And like many proud alumni, I've begun, as Dr. Lokash noted, an endowed award in my mother's name. She was a proud graduate and a long-term employee of Memorial. I hope that in time, this award will benefit mature female students like my mother, who begin or return to studies later in their lives. Thank you again, and I look forward to the rest of the evening.
As is tradition, we will now enjoy our musical interlude. Here from Memorial University School of Music, we have a jazz trio featuring Humberto Piccoli on guitar, Julia Cass on trombone, and Ursula Harrison on bass.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. The Alumna of the Year Award is the highest distinction bestowed upon a memorial graduate by the alumni body. It recognizes outstanding contributions, exceptional human values that are an inspiration to others, and an ongoing commitment to the memorial community and beyond. Dr. Lisa Barrett ably meets and exceeds these criteria. Lisa hails from the small fishing village of Old Perlican, and it was a high school science lab that ignited her interest in immunology. 3 cheers for all those inspirational teachers out there. She came down to the big city to do an honors BSc in biology, class of 1998, during which she distinguished herself as a leader among her peers. She was the first student to complete a joint MD-PhD at Memorial, a program she helped to create in order to pursue. She then did an internal medicine residency at Dalhousie, an adult infectious disease fellowship at U of T, and clinician scientist training at the NIH, where she was the immunologic lead on several early phase clinical trials. Dr. Barrett joined Dalhousie's Division of Infectious Diseases in 2013 as a clinical investigator and assistant professor, and founded the Senescence Aging Infection and Immunity Laboratory, or SAIL, which combines her expertise in infectious disease and immunology. Her dual focus is on pathology and immunology, the very, very tiny picture, and on how our systems succeed or fail to achieve better public health through access to care, the very big picture. She works selflessly, empathetically, and incredibly effectively to improve the health of those living with chronic viral infections like hepatitis C and HIV in vulnerable and underserved populations, including the elderly, persons who use drugs, and incarcerated and underhoused individuals. It is well understood, for instance, that her work and eloquent advocacy to bring hepatitis C testing and antiviral treatments to incarcerated individuals on PEI effectively eliminated the virus from the island's prison system. When the COVID-19 pandemic descended upon us, Dr. Barrett's background in testing was an indispensable resource, as was her passion and commitment to science interpretation, and so she was thrust into the media limelight. I probably don't have to tell Minister Haggie or, say, Dr. Anthony Fauci, whose lab Lisa worked in for 2 years and whom she considers a mentor, that it is a dubious kind of celebrity to be the face and voice of a pandemic response. But she occupied this role with grace and confidence and was a trusted, reliable, articulate media spokesperson for the science behind the public health policies devised to control the spread of COVID-19. Swapping her lab coat for a public health hat, she established community-based pop-up rapid COVID testing centers in and around Halifax and recruited and trained community volunteers to swab for the virus. Her advocacy around asymptomatic testing is credited with helping Nova Scotia maintain lower infection levels through multiple waves. Especially at this relatively early stage of her career, Dr. Barrett has achieved an unusually high level of visibility and respect in her field, and her star is only on the rise. She makes time, however, to nurture her strong ties to Memorial and her home province, sharing her HCV elimination strategy, supporting our COVID response, and collaborating with researchers on matters of public health. She has been invited to serve in key positions on numerous national and international committees, and her clinical practice and research have garnered an impressive number of recognitions and awards. Memorial is very proud to add to these accolades tonight and to watch as Dr. Barrett's career continues to evolve and thrive.
I first met Lisa more than 25 years ago, just after I started here as an assistant professor of immunology. During her education here, she was actually the first successful student to get a medical degree and a PhD. So she actually created the MD PhD program from nothing for herself because she wanted to do both.
She wanted to do clinical work and help people, but she also wanted to research. So she took on the goal of doing both of those things at the same time, which is really remarkable. And her professional work ethic, ever since is just, she's driven, she works tremendous amounts of hours for the public good, often on great personal sacrifice.
Lisa is very devoted. She made a decision, I think, a long time ago to commit all of herself to her profession, to the medical profession, to the public health profession, to educating the future of medicine and science.
As long back as I can remember, Lisa has cared about everything. She cared about the work she did. She cared about the people that she was friends with. She's a huge, huge, huge patient advocate. She cares that people have opportunities in the community to be themselves, and that people can make mistakes, and it's okay, that there's no judgment attached to those kinds of things. So I think caring is probably the one word that's the underlying key principle that she has that makes her who she is today.
Lisa, growing up, we could see, even from an early age, that she had a steely focus. When she focused in on something, that was it. Nothing got in the way. She was quiet about it, but not deterred.
Lisa is selfless, and this has been, her whole life. And when I knew her almost 30 years ago, this was even evident then. She would be late for events because she would be going around buying cards for someone's mother who was ill, or picking up flowers or presents for someone's kid, and these types of things. As a student, she took on burdens to better her fellow students, such as being president of the Mon Biology Society, and then she took on as president of the Med Student Society, and she continued to do that stuff as she progressed, in her training, and then, as a professional, she takes on tremendous responsibilities related to this now.
Something that really comes to mind after she started her independent career at Dalhousie is she brought levels of government, Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia, together with the federal government, with the pharmaceutical industry, to develop a program to treat inmates in the prison in Prince Edward Island for hepatitis C infection. She did that driving back and forth from Halifax to Charlottetown most days herself, and cured the entire population of Prince Edward Island of hepatitis C infection.
She pretty much led the whole rapid antigen testing campaign for Nova Scotia. But what I noticed is that she was very involved with social media throughout that. And she was always making sure to give credit to the people who helped her. She didn't do it all herself. Hundreds of volunteers helped with the testing, helped with getting information out. They saw how hard she worked. They saw that she put everything she had, every minute she had into it. And I think, if you look at the pictures on social media, they're all smiling. They were all happy to help her because they realized that she was giving all of herself to what she was doing. And it really inspired and motivated people to just want to help her.
It's inherent in her nature, I think. She's wanted to improve things. Once she's decided that this is a goal or something that she really wants to do, I think she takes it on and she owns whatever that project is.
Lisa is fearless. This is someone who has always fought for change, fought to improve systems, to improve health, of the public in general.
Seeing Lisa on the national stage, it makes me really proud, almost beyond words.
When I think of Lisa, I think of selfless. In the simplest form, that's how I would describe her. That bundled with tremendous amounts of energy to dedicate towards a cause.
We have always been really proud of Lisa. She's had a lot of accomplishments in her life, and I think that she will have more as she's going forward, that hopefully she knows we love her from the bottoms of our hearts.
Dignitaries, university folk, all those tuning in online, thank you for being such an attentive audience. What a pleasure to be part of this history-making celebration. My final task is to ask you to join me in congratulating the extraordinary Dr. Lisa Barrett, immunology expert, public health advocate, media maven, on being Memorial's 2022 Alumna of the Year. I invite Dr. Barrett to the front with her nominator, Dr. Craig Purchase, to present her with her well-earned award.
Had I known there was video, I would have brought tissues. And truly, I thought I was getting this because I was a registered student for 15 continuous years. President Timmons, Chancellor Ludlow, members and chair of the Board of Regents, executive university leadership, Honorable Dr. Haggie in your newest position, those representing the Alumni Awards Selection Committee, as well as the nominators who are present this evening, distinguished guests, and also, and very importantly, the members of the Memorial University alumni community, and let's not forget their supporting family and friends. Good evening, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And I'm a little dry. The old science building may have been humid, this one ain't. And for all those who are watching from afar, and I know there's some infectious disease people out there, the water glasses are all labeled with your name. It's great. 2 thumbs up from Dr. Barrett. So, jokes aside, I'm exceptionally grateful, a smidgen surprised still, but yet extremely grateful, nonetheless, to be included in the Meritus group being recognized tonight. Dr. Jarrett, Ms. Healy-White, and Mrs. Allen, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this group. Congratulations to you all. Learning of your accomplishments and your contributions and experiences made me pause and reflect on your enormous capacity for empathy, caring, service, and innovation. It makes me hopeful and excited that humans look after each other in such a meaningful way, especially as Memorial alumni. It inspires me to do better and see more and always want to evolve. So thank you, and I'm very pleased to be among this group. And thank you very much to the nominators who put forward a package, again, beyond the fact I just stuck around far too long in haunted halls to be here. But that sense of empathy, caring, compassion, and innovation that I said I saw when I was reviewing the portfolios of the folks who are going to be awardees with me this evening leads well into the thoughts I want to share. My time at Memorial University was the nidus of opportunity, confidence, and desire to focus my life and work in a way that continuously challenges me every single day. And that started at Memorial. Beyond the critical thinking skills, the content learning, my Memorial University time helped hone 3 concepts which are core to the way I strive to work and live. And 2 of them already have come up in President Timmons' notes earlier, so I'm glad I'm recapitulating some key core themes for the university. The first concept is service, particularly for those with a limited voice. And I think that that's a duty that we all have. It's not a gratuitous thing. At Memorial, we did have, as Dr. Purchase mentioned, a university society. It was a student-run organization, and we were at a cusp of where the university, where this particular biology department was going, and there wasn't a ton of student input at that time on some of the deciding groups. And through the advocacy of our biology society, we managed to provide a great deal of input at a pivotal time for the biology department as it grew and was changing. And that idea that you were serving your greater studenthood and what was going to be the training for future generations of biologists was a key core part of developing service as a duty. But that led a little bit an extension beyond Memorial, and that comes back to some of the correctional work that was mentioned here. I do think that service, medicine, I do fully believe is a service that we provide to the public. It's not a job. It's a service and a calling to a certain extent. And when you work in correctional settings, you come across folks who have not generally had the same advantages and abilities to support themselves, to attend university in many cases, or to have the family and supports that we all have, most of the folks in this room. And so instead of wondering how to change the big system and say we couldn't do it, the team, never me, there's always a humongous team of people who work with me to bring things forward. We worked to bring not just testing and treatment to the correctional setting for hepatitis C in a very equitable way that didn't judge how people got to the correctional setting, nor how they got their bloodborne pathogen, in this case hepatitis C. Not just the testing, not just the care, but also the ability to be involved in research. We have excluded people in correctional settings from research for fear of harm for many, many years, and we offered them the opportunity to be a part of that again. And so that first concept of service, that's a duty, was exemplified first at Memorial and extended through that correctional work. And I was very happy that Memorial set me up in many ways for that. The second concept is around community. Again, the second concept that's already been mentioned tonight. And that nothing happens, pandemic or otherwise, without community, trust, and caring. At Memorial, in the Faculty of Medicine, I had the great privilege of working with many, many, many physicians, both within the cities, but also in rural settings. And some of those folks that I worked with and saw on my first rotations as a Memorial University, proud Memorial University student, medical student, were folks who worked in and around the Twillingate and Random Island area. Dr. Sheldon, Dr. Ravalia, among others. And those folks helped in my Memorial link here to community caring and trust. They had developed a trust with their communities over time that made me certain that nothing in this world happens good without community caring and trust, which pulls us forward. And I wasn't going to mention PC. Now, not the political party, but pandemic nor COVID. But alas, here we are. I've mentioned them, and it had to happen. During the pandemic, as was highlighted somewhat in the video, we recognized that we didn't have a great way. Our systems can be a smidgen, dare I say, paternalistic or maternalistic on occasion. We hold testing for notifiable diseases within hospital systems and health professionals. That wasn't going to work in a pandemic. And we had some tools that if we got them to people, we could help them to use them in a more timely way. And so we just took a chance and we said, we're going to bring COVID testing in Nova Scotia to people, driven by volunteers, so we don't use our limited health professional resources, and we're going to get non-professionals to do these swabs. You can't do that. Of course you can do that. If you have community, caring, and trust that you build along the way with a group of 5,000 volunteers who continuously learned, trained, and went out at a time when the pandemic was so uncertain at their own potential risk to look after the people in their communities that we knew where virus was. And it was an incredible experience. Community, caring, and trust that we brought to people, but that wasn't me, that was a team of people. You just needed to say to them, can you look after each other? And everyone said, heck yes. And I think my mother has about 1,400 hours or thousands of hours at these testing sites as well. So service is a duty, community, caring, and trust. And then the third thing, which I'll quickly go through because I don't want to keep you, I think there may be food or coffee in the back. The third thing is that I truly believe and know that great leadership cannot happen if you're led by fear. And I'm not certain I knew that was true when I first had my very beginnings at Memorial. Our motto, launch forth into the deep. Everyone's familiar with that as good alumni, I'm sure. I'll give a go at the Latin, but my first year Latin professor told me don't ever speak Latin out loud, but I'll do it anyway. Proito in altum, close. Launch forth into the deep. So I got that here. And that truly, really is. Great leadership cannot happen without not being led in fear. And that was what happened during the pandemic. I'll bring it back just as a quick story. Not only did I work in a correctional setting, but during the pandemic, what was going to be the biggest risk place for folks? What was one of the biggest risk places? People who were vulnerable, medically unwell. What does that sound like? That sounds like a correctional setting. Close together, shared air with no choices. Through collaboration and a heck of a lot of you can't do that, and a very brave set of actually women and a couple of men at the Department of Justice, in Nova Scotia, we decarcerated almost 70% of our provincial people who were in corrections into the community so that they did not get COVID. You can't do that without, there's fear in that. You may be doing the wrong thing. You may be doing a very unwise thing. Everyone's telling you it's unwise. So you've just got to be aware of the fear, but not be led by it. And the second part, of course, was social testing in bars. Nobody thought that was a good idea, going down to the bars and hanging out. But where was COVID spreading at points? It was with young people in bars before we had vaccines. And we took that down and we just said, hey, we're going to hang out. Great team of wonderful people. A public health officer who finally said, you know, go for it. We'll figure it out if it doesn't work out. And so we did it with a little bit of fear in our hearts, but an intense need to lead. So service as a duty, community and caring with trust, and knowing that you cannot lead from fear are three of the things that I gained at Memorial initially and then have been able to use as I go through. So I started saying tonight that I was grateful to be included in this group. I'm equally grateful and humbled, and I mean that very sincerely, to have the continued opportunity to work and live the way I do with my friends, family, colleagues that I've made at Memorial and along the way, and some of whom are also watching tonight, they support and move the mountains that I can help to push along with them, and I'm very grateful. Always proud to be a Memorial alumnus. Always attempting to launch forth into the deep, guided by vision, new knowledge, and innovation, but also unhampered by fear. And to be clear, there are a lot of people that tell you along the way that this is the wrong thing to do. But if you know it's the right thing to do, it's never wrong, and that's where launching forth into the deep keeps coming up. I'm always humbled by the friends, family, colleagues, and the communities I serve every single day. They inspire me, and I'm also watchful and mindful of their lives of service, community, caring, and courage, including some of the folks who nominate me here tonight, including Dr. Purchase and Dr. Grant, and my family are here as well, which I'm very grateful for. I thank you all for your time, more than I expected to take, and your attention, and I sincerely hope, and this is important, that we all move fearlessly, launching forth into the deep, into this next phase of the pandemic and building global community, mindful of making life better for each one of us and the people around us. Thank you so much for this honor.
Well, first of all, thank you to our orator, Dr. Jennifer Lokash, for your wonderful words and introductions. And really why we all came here tonight was to hear and celebrate and to hear from our recipients. So a really big congratulations and thank you to them. Just listening to our alumni speak and as students, you know, we have ambition. We also feel a sense of uncertainty and are a little bit overwhelmed as we do complete our education and start in the real world. And so, you know, our recipients tonight have shown that with great empathy, with great passion, great focus, and very, very, very hard work, that we can impact positive change locally, nationally, and internationally. And I speak for all students of Memorial, I think, when I say it's truly an inspiring evening. So thank you very much for your stories and for doing what you've done.
Thank you to our orator, Dr. Lokash. As always, you were equal parts eloquent and entertaining. We would like to say a special thank you to all the colleagues, friends, and partners here in the audience, and all of you joining virtually who are celebrating with us.
And of course, thank you to the talented folks at the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning at Memorial University, who created the beautiful Alumni of the Year video honoring Dr. Barrett.
Before concluding, we would like to make a request. Tonight, we are celebrating successful alumni who were nominated by their peers for the Tribute Awards. The nomination process has been simplified with an online form and is available year-round. So I would encourage all of you to nominate deserving alumni for Tribute Awards next year. To be considered for the 2023 awards, get your nominations in by March 15th. More information on how to nominate individuals for Tribute Awards can be found at www.mun.ca/alumni.
You're all welcome to stay for a lovely reception and some refreshments afterwards. I'd like to request that all deans, nominators, and recipients please remain in your seats as the alumni engagement staff will direct you to get some photos. Shushmita, I don't know about you, but I feel truly inspired after this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of this amazing evening and this amazing event honoring so many of our lovely alumni people. And as an international student and as a current MUN student, I definitely see myself being a MUN alumni someday. And you all have really, really encouraged me and inspired me tonight. Thank you so much.